So there's a lot of stuff that we get, right, that is based on history. You know what I mean? Like following a figure that everyone knows, but this is an untold tale in their lexicon or whatever the word is, which should go there. You work that out. But yeah, we get that a lot, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Right? So I was intrigued to check out Raven's Hollow. You know, um, yeah, this is I think Raven's Hollow, right? It gives you that Edgar Allan Poe in the name, and that's what is following Edgar Allan Poe. And I didn't know this, right? But he originally, at the beginning, before he went into writing and, you know, that all craziness, he was a cadet at West Point, but he did get discharged. Now, supposedly, all of this is, like not very well explained. There's not much information about what actually happened, why he was discharged. It's all cloaked in mystery. So that's what our team involved in this have tried to do, tell that story. So it's directed by Christopher Hatton, who co-wrote with Chuck Reeves. It is produced by Caroline Stern, Todd Lundholm, uh, Andreas Ekis. It's executive produced by Mark Andrews, Stephanie Denton, Patrick Fisher, Morgan Tovey Frost, associate producers. Also executive producing is Emily Gotto, Alexander Hilton, Richard Condell, and Christina Lundholm. And Janice Kaligis is the service producer. Never heard of a service producer, but yeah, there you go. So Robert Ellis Geiger handles the music. Michael Rizzi, cinematography, is edited by Danny Rafik and Yaron Rudder. Sandris Judzem is production design. Hair and makeup is Victoria Berzika. Alga Besta Rajbozvika, Eva Serbre, and Zane Zelenska. Whew, some mouthfuls here. And our cast. Well, Mr. Poe is played by William Moseley. Will Taylor is played by Callum Woodhouse. Daniel Clay is Callum McGowan. Lawrence Bishop is Kyle Rowe. Thomas Crick is Michael Guest. We've then got Charlotte Ingram, played by Melanie Zanetti. Elizabeth Ingram is played by Kate Dickey. Usher is played by Oberon K.A. Ajapong. We've got Lutz Becker, played by Matthias Landwehr. Dr. Garrett is David Heyman. Old Clay is Juris Strenger. Mary Keene is Eliza Calavania. Reverend Keene is Thomas Trennis. So a young Daniel Clay is played by Nicholas Zilizek. Yeah, I butchered that one. A young Charlotte is played by Magia Maria Marcus. Yeah, that's how cast. And the gist of the piece is autumn 1830. West Point military cadet Edgar Allan Poe and four other cadets on a training exercise in upstate New York come upon a man eviscerated on a bizarre wooden rack. His dying words direct them to a forgotten community, which they believe is guarding sinister secrets. Enthralled by the innkeeper's beautiful and mysterious daughter, Charlotte, and fueled by the town residents' refusal to speak to the murderer, Poe determines to uncover the truth. Risking his life and more, Poe ultimately comes face to face with the terror that will haunt him forever. So yes, I mean that's a big thing. So we start off and the ride, these cadets are riding, and yeah, there's just this man kind of crucified on this wooden rack, and his guts are out and all of that, but he's still alive. I think he's dead. He's still alive, and he yeah, it says Ravens Hollow, right? So they're like, let's go check it. Well, Poe is like, let's go check it. The others are a bit more hesitant, but yeah, he there's no actual leader to cadets, but he kind of takes charge, and they go to town, and it's one of those crazy things, right, where people don't want to talk, and they want people to go away, right? So you would think the best way to do it is say a few things, right? Alleviate people's mistrust and then leave you alone. But if you just be like, act like nothing, refuse to talk, then people are going to be mad suspicious. And that's what happens. So Poe and his peoples stay over, right? They figure they stay the night, see what might come about. And obviously, that's when it all kicks off. And yeah, trouble hits the cadets in a big way. So this is very atmospheric. It's very atmospheric, right? You do, use good filters. You get the feel of this sinister thing, right? That's taken over this town. You definitely feel that, right? Good use of lighting, nice cinematography. I think one thing that did bug me a little, right, is one of my, things, but it's just like the clothes, man. Like you're riding through all of this terrain and all your clothes are perfect, right? There's no dirt or wear on them, which is all a bit like, I kind of feel after all of this, shit's gonna get a little musty. You know what I mean? Like you stay over, no one's growing stubble or anything like that. You know what I mean? If I have to shave every few days, so I have no clue how these people, what I mean? There's a few people that, right, don't have a lot of facial hair, but you'd imagine at least one of those cadets is going to be like starting getting a little bristly. Never see it, right? No one ever sweats in these things. It's all a bit odd. Perfect teeth, when we know back in 1830, yeah, teeth, not so great, right? Not so great. But I think those kind of things are a little minor. I mean, they get, something can still be very enjoyable, even if, there's these little missteps and all of that. The story, like, it did lean real heavy into like the Poe lore, as it were, which I kind of get. But it's one of those things, when oftentimes when there's a book series or something and they do a prequel, right? Oh, this is what happened before the first book. but you know where it's going to end, right? You know how it's going to end because obviously there's book one, and I think that's kind of what happens. Like we know Poe will live because this is Poe's early days, right? So we know that. But then I think they try and kind of squeeze in, oh, so this is why he wrote The Raven. This is why he was so morose and, what I mean? Like all of that. They try and kind of squeeze all of that in and be like, oh, that's why Poe is why he is, because of all what happened in this period of time, which, I mean, I guess it could work, but I don't know. There felt like there was a hollowness here, right? There's definitely some good elements for sure. Definitely felt very sinister, but there felt like there was a lack of something, especially when we get to, like, as I say, there was a reveal in it, which, yeah, that was pretty creepy. But I might have missed something, but I like the connections and all of that, I didn't really feel were overly explained, right? Just there was this connection. And it's just like, okay, but how did that happen? Right? How did that happen? Like, and how can you break it? Didn't seem to be a consideration, which again seemed a little odd, seeing what Poe had said, right? So yeah, that it felt a bit anticlimactic, you know. But I don't know, man. Yeah, as I said, look, there's a few films like this that try and tell these untold tales, that try and give you, well, this is why this person was like this. So I kind of think that if you enjoy those stories, right, then Raven's Hollow, yeah, that's going to work for you. You're going to be fully in, because I think other than those bits and bobs, um it does a decent job. We get some good performances, you know, but yeah, some that don't. Like when there's the alcohol, I feel it must be alcohol laced with something, right? But we don't understand why someone else would drink that. You know what I mean? Which then seemed to cause a whole heap of other things. But it's just like, why would you, like, it wasn't very clear why that would be the thing, right? You maybe get drunk, but why that? Why the hallucinogenic, right? That's all a little peculiar. There was just these threads that didn't necessarily come together for me anyway. But yeah, if you enjoy these types of stories, there was one about Mary Shelley on Shudder, and I cannot forget the name of it. Maybe it was The Lake or something. Yeah. But anyway, if you enjoy these type of tales, right? These kind of historical fiction, where people take artistic license. If that's your kind of bag, then maybe Raven's Hollow is for you, people. But it is now on Shudder, so yeah, go check it out if it sounds like your thing.